We are back. We're going to do something today that we have not done before. And I told my co-host here, Chaplain Dove, that it's time that we kind of reviewed for people some of the lives well lived that we've had on the show. And he said, okay, make a list of people, right? And I started. I could not believe it, Dove. I mean, I kept writing names down. Wait a minute, we had this one. Oh my goodness, we had that one. Oh, and I love that one. Just to tell you a couple, and I know that you're going to go online, and the good part about our show is that you can see it 24/7, and you can see every single show that we've ever done so far.
Correct. So if you go on pinkladypresents.com, you're going to see a lot of the people we're talking about, and some of them have not been broadcast yet. They're coming up in the spring. They're coming up in January, February, March, maybe April. But let's talk about some of the folks who we've been honored to welcome here at pinkladypresents.com.
And one of them was really cute and adorable. Mm-hmm. She was my height, everyone, and about a little heavier than I was, but just darling, Dr. Erica Miller. And what was her favorite saying?
Well, Dr. Erica Miller would tell you about an accomplishment and say, I'm not bragging, I'm just sharing.
I love it.
And one of the fascinating parts about her, she's written a number of books.
Right.
But she had just returned from climbing Mount Everest.
Yes.
I mean, 2 weeks before she was on a mountaintop.
At
and
85.
Here she was talking
85.
to us at age 85. I mean, we shared that life with you. And she was a kick.
She was a kick.
She really was.
And it really proved that it ain't over. I mean, just by knowing someone like her. Right. And then I did, a few months ago, a PBS?
Public Service
Announcement, PSA,
yep.
For an organization called the National
Veterans Foundation. NVF.
Tell them what that is.
Shad Meshad was a decorated officer during the Vietnam War. Right. Medical officer. He realized that there were problems that really were not being addressed.
Right, big time.
We now call them PTSD,
right.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome, or other emotional responses to being in wartime. He came back and he helped establish over 300 medical clinics in conjunction with our government.
Right.
And then he started National Veterans Foundation. The beauty of the NVF is in the last 30 years, they have helped more than 400,000 suicide prevention calls. And the people that he hires are all veterans. They work in his office near Los Angeles Airport, and they are Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, and Coast Guard, Merchant Marine, men and women. So the chances are that if you call and you have someone who's a friend or a family member, and they're in need of some support, and they say, I served in the Navy in the Gulf War, there's a very good chance he has somebody on staff who served in the Navy during the Gulf War,
and
or
also,
during Vietnam, or Korea.
Right, and also, not just anyone answers the phone, but say you have someone who is a woman, person, veteran, who is having problems. Chances are that he has a woman talk to her, woman to woman,
exactly,
veteran to veteran. It's such a great program, and the name of it is, again,
the National Veterans Foundation.org, NVF.org. If you go on to pinkladypresents.com, you can see the public service announcement that Pink Lady did as her part in supporting our veterans and their families.
And if, like it said in the PSA that I did, we of an age always write our wills, giving a little something to this organization, that organization, and someone like Shad's organization, who helped so many people to live again, is worthwhile mentioning them in your will. Another person who we absolutely adore, we did a show last year called We Are America. And in that show, everyone was of an age of 60 years to 106, literally. But our eldest queen was Clyda Mahoney. Now, Clyda is absolutely the epitome of what a star looks like and is. And she was a Ms. Senior California of, I think it was 1990 or 1992, tall, like 5'9", the most gorgeous lady. And on that week that she was at the show there, she became 90. And no way would you know that.
Right. Pink Lady produced a musical called We Are America at the Madrid Theater in Canoga Park, California in 2017. And on the 30th of November, we had a cast party for Clyda Mahoney,
Right.
her 90th birthday. Jane Austen was there, the president of Screen Actors
Diane
Guild,
Watson was there,
former
our
ambassador
wonderful
and
congresswoman.
and we had champagne and cake for the entire audience and sparkling apple cider for those that didn't imbibe. And it was a wonderful time.
It was.
It really was.
But it just shows you that it's not over. And then, I don't know whether you went on, but you have to go on to the show where a 43-year young toucan, what would you call it? Macaw, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and his name is Officer Bird. And Officer Bird gave me a kiss. Let me tell you,
right here on the show.
Right here on the show, and I was a little nervous about that.
I've never had competition from a macaw parrot, but on this show you see everything. And one of the interesting facets of Mike Simonson, who's been with LAPD after his service in Vietnam, he's a veteran, and he started training this macaw parrot.
Right.
And the parrot actually has a badge, number 007 from LAPD.
I love it.
And 30 years ago, or 28 years ago, he brought that parrot to my daughter's school. She's now 32. And I got to meet Mike Simonson way back when.
Right.
And then when we started the show, we said, who are the people, interesting lives, well-lived, that we need to have on the show? So we brought Mike Simonson and Officer Bird, and they were right here. You can see them on pinkladypresents.com.
Someone else who I have to say that we have to say a plateau to is Harry Kernan. Harry is a gentleman. When you talk about people who give of themselves to others, you think of people giving it to their friends or their family when they go through and give a part of their body to help another person. Harry was a person who took, just out of the blue, someone who needed a...
Well, here's the story.
Go
there
ahead,
were
tell
two
me.
people. One needed a kidney donation, and one needed a liver dissection. And because he had registered as an organ donor, they called him and said, would you consider donating a kidney and a liver transection so that we can help these people live? And he did. So he saved 2 lives of 2 total strangers. Now, a little bit more about Harry. He was a Vietnam veteran who then went on to the elite firefighting corps that travels the United States, putting out the worst of the worst in forest fires and other commercial fires. And then someone saw him, and he's a handsome man, and they hired him to be a Ralph Lauren Polo, does a Ralph Lauren Polo
model
commercials.
And actor.
And you saw him here on pinkladypresents.com. I was just looking at some of the lists because we were sitting here just writing away. Bob Donovan was with us.
Oh.
There's a wonderful organization, Operation Gratitude, that has packed over 2 million boxes and sent them to our troops overseas. And Bob is one of the ambassadors who is a volunteer, a veteran, and a Vietnam vet. And we have a lot of Vietnam vets, my peer group. And came on to share with us how people could support the future of Operation Gratitude.
And you know, I'm sitting and I'm also thinking, wait a minute now, if someone needs a little tooth right here, or teeth, you go to a dentist. Well, we had on the dentist of dentists, Dr. Jay Grossman, who gives of his time and puts out there, helps veterans and the homeless, but a lot of veterans giving them not $1 if they need it or $2. He gives them a life. He gives them their teeth so that they can get dressed up, go to a job, and start their life again. I think that, that was phenomenal.
And one of the things that a landmark that we reached this year, working with Dr. J, is that they have provided in excess of $3 million to people who are homeless, who are youth in difficulty, who are leaving incarceration. And the one thing that everyone looks at is that they don't have teeth or they have poor teeth. And it keeps them, it holds them back from getting a job, from having a life. And if they're willing to make the commitment every other way, he makes sure with all of the other dentists, he's enlisted dentists and professors
from
and
all
dental
over.
students at UCLA. And there's a core of hundreds of them who provide these services through all of this association. It's called the Homeless Not Toothless. And you can go online and find him at homeless.toothless, hmt.org.
And then we all talk about people who are religious, okay? We have our churches, we have our synagogues, we have the Buddhist community, the Muslim community, and they all do phenomenal things. But a very diverse community, it's a religion, but it's a diverse one, is called Pico Union, Craig Taubman. Tell us how they started that.
Craig Taubman was with Sinai Temple for 17 years and did a program called Friday Night Live with wonderful musicians from all over the world. He was with the Disney Channel for over 30 years and continues to travel the country. He'll be in Naples, Florida in March of 2019 and in Boston, New York, and New Jersey area in earlier in the month of March 2019. What he did was purchase a building that was the original Sinai Temple.
Was it 100 years old or more?
Well, it was sold to the Welsh Presbyterian Church. And after 85 years, they were moving, and most of their community had either relocated or died off, and they wanted to sell the building. So
and
they
kept
Sinai.
it. And they kept it.
They kept it in pristine condition.
Would they have the glass,
they have the
stained glass windows?
Stained glass windows, the original organ that played in 1919. Still in working order. It's an amazing place. And so Craig decided he would ask the community what they would like. It didn't matter what he wanted, what I wanted, it's what the community wanted. And they wanted diversification. So he has a Jewish group, a Protestant group, a Catholic group, a Buddhist group, and a Muslim group. And they have a farmer's market to provide fresh produce because the neighborhood doesn't have a grocery store within several miles. So they're doing these things. We just had a big drive. Pico Union had a drive in the summertime to get school supplies and backpacks so the kids could go to school and be on par with the other kids. It's just a wonderful program. And Craig Taubman, we owe a great debt of thanks. I personally enlisted his help for Veterans Day, and he sent out the word to all the churches and synagogues, and we sounded the sound of freedom, church bells ringing and shofars, the ram horn being sounded on Veterans Day at 11/11 on 11/11. So thank you, Craig Taubman.
Looking back, Dov, I think we really have been blessed by having our own diversity in our guests. And when I say to people, hey, you know what? It ain't over till you say it's over. Someone will say, well, it's easy for you to say. Well, it's not easy for me to say. It's a joy for me to say that. It's a privilege for me to be able, at 86 years young, and going into my 87th year, to be able to work, to bring people together, and to show people that when you have a zest for life, that it's not the stories that you tell, it's how you live those stories.
Okay, so I want to mention a few other people because we have a couple of minutes left. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but you can go on pinkladypresents.com, and you can find these programs and see the interviews with these talented people. So among that list, we have Andre Coles. There's an organization called Access Paratransit, and we take care of over 285,000 people in LA County alone. Every county has the equivalent of an Access Paratransit. Look it up in your community. It's established by the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities. Please find out about it, because it could change someone you know, change their life.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about people with veterans. Donna Deutschman is the CEO.
Homes for Families.
And if you go to Homes, the numeral 4, Homes for Families, you can see what they're doing in building and providing homes for veteran families.
In a community atmosphere. I mean, that's what makes it.
We just gave keys in November 17th of 2018, to a number of families so that they and their kids could move in, first-time owners of a home. Some of them are still on active duty.
Oh, but wait a minute. Tell
protecting
them what,
you.
Right. Tell them what they gave each child.
Okay. There's a wonderful organization in Los Angeles called Big Sunday.
Yes.
The founder is David Levinson. It's been in existence since 1999. And one day I got a phone call about a few weeks ago, and he said, we have a donor who wants to give us some bicycles and helmets, all brand new. So I said, let me get in touch with Donna. And because we were giving the keys to these people who are buying these homes and helping to build them, we made sure that on that day, not only did they get the keys to move into their new homes, and this is not a gift, this is something they earned and they're paying for, but they didn't have the opportunity until Donna and her group came along. They all had a new bicycle and a new helmet. Every child, every adult, 86 of them that day, thanks to David Levinson and Big Sunday, and our friends at Northrop Grumman, who assembled all the bikes and delivered them so that these kids and these adults could have new bikes.
Dear friends, Dove and I want to thank you for watching Pink Lady Presents. It Ain't Over.
11.
Okay.
We have time.
I have
a little
time.
bit more.
Okay. I thought we were over.
Okay. How about Marva X?
Oh, tell them about
Marva
that.
was a guest on our show.
Yes.
She and her colleagues put together something called the Honor Flight. If you know anyone who's a World War II veteran, a Korean War veteran, or a Vietnam War veterans, get in touch with Marva X. It's called Honor Flight, and they will provide a free, all expenses paid trip to Washington, D.C., escorted.
And wait a minute, and that's with their caregiver or a companion
Right.
to go with them.
Right. And she was here telling us about it. You can see her program on pinkladypresents.com. Ann Kloss Farley.
Adore her.
Costumer to the stars. Just came back last summer from Shanghai, where she did the costuming for Disney Shanghai. A marvelous person who has done the costuming for a number of Pink Lady shows.
Right.
And because they were just, Jane Austen, Screen Actors Guild president, was here on the show. Watch and find out how the important work that they're doing to get the rights and benefits for people who are in the acting profession. Chuck Ashman, former president of 20th Century Fox Marketing during the Star Wars period. It's called Vet Marketing, has put together literally hundreds of thousands of veterans and people who are looking to open businesses as Vet Marketing. Look it up. It's Vet Marketing.
And then my favorite, my very favorite, I have to tell you, sometimes we have a favorite. He is only 94?
94.
94 years young, and his name is Jimmy Weldon, a veteran who literally lights up the sky when you meet him. He does.
If you go on,
Glory,
to our program, pinkladypresents.com, somewhere in May of 2018, and he does a program called I Am Old Glory about the American flag.
Fabulous.
You will be touched. Show it to your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids. It's a marvelous program.
I mean, he literally brings tears to your eyes.
We had Sarah Lonsert on, who had just come back from appearing on Broadway in Fire and Ice, produced by David Messing. Peter Parker, a marvelous vocalist. If you go to the program in July or August of 2018, you'll see Peter's son, who at the time was 6 years old, singing at the Crystal Cathedral, "You Will Be Blown Away." This is all on PinkLadyPresents.com. And Tom Ruck, who is the director of the Los Angeles National Cemetery, Greg Lee, who's the chairman of the California State Commanders Veterans Council. Marvelous programming, great talent. Please go on and watch and enjoy.
And then one of our favorites, because he's absolutely a friend as well, is J.C. Curtis. And J.C., I think, is one of the best comedians that this world ever had. He is only 92. I mean, I think the people, the caliber, and he has a lovely wife who I have known, well, Bobby Stam, started with me in 2007 in my first show. Been with me ever since, and what a team they are. But JC at 92, he literally can tell you stories from 100 years ago and on time. I mean, they say that the best thing about a comedian is timing. That's him. And it is time for us to go.
Really?
I don't want to leave. I want to just talk. Thank you again for letting us into your homes, into your lives. God bless everyone out there. Pink Lady says, I love you all. It ain't over until you say it's over. God bless.
Bye, folks.
You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.